This is the Shaper Origin, and yes, it is expensive. But let me show you one of the things it does that makes my life a little bit easier. And that thing is installing hardware. So I can take the Shaper Trace. It's that little plastic outline you saw there. It lets me use my cell phone's camera to create a vector file straight from the handle itself. Then I lay down this tape that tells the Shaper Origin where it is on the workpiece. Here I'm flipping my router bit upside down so that I don't mark up the side of the door that I'm working on. This allows me to touch that router bit to the side of the table, and it tells the router exactly where the edges are. That way I can transfer the measurements of where the handle needs to go directly into the computer. So I set one edge, set the next, actually go around the corner so that it knows where 90 degrees of the corner is. Then I just tell it exactly where I want the corner of the handle to go. I input the length, the width, hit enter, and it puts that handle exactly where it needs to go. Then I can flip my router bit back over, and it's time to start making some cuts. First, the router needs to know how far away it is from the table. So there it is, figuring out how far down it needs to go. I measure how far it needs to cut, and I tell it to cut 1/8 of an inch. And make that first cut there. This router automatically adjusts for me, so you can see on the screen as I go to make the cuts. If I move outside of the lines that I need to be cutting on, the router automatically adjusts for me. And if I go outside of the lines, the router bit actually retracts up into the router so that I don't mess up my workpiece. Now I'm setting an offset. You can see there I was telling it to cut 3/16 inside the line. That's so I can make this cavity where the rest of the handle needs to sit. Then I can square up the edges that were left over from the rounded bit with my chisel, and it's time for a test fit. As you can see, it fits great. So now it's time to mark where the screws are gonna go. Use a clamp to make sure nothing moves. Center punch, grab a drill bit, pre-drill. Brass screws are very easy to break or to snap, so it's always a good idea to pre-drill them. Put the screws in, and we are done.